Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Sam's Financial Corner. And today we're going to deviate from the path that we've normally taken about talking about stocks and bonds and investments and credit cards and savings, etc. And we're going to go and start another journey simultaneously. And this one has to deal with working, the office. So we're going to talk about everything from the interview process to getting a job to maintaining a job and maintaining your sanity working with others, which is actually the hardest part. But before we get into all of those things, the first thing I always like to do is I want to start with you. Before you can work your resume and make it shine the way it needs to, before you can create the cover letter that piques interest in potential employers, before you sit down and greet and meet, whether it's virtual or even in person, we have to start with the most important aspect, which is you. This is one of those things where I know normally when you see videos, everyone starts off with, okay, and in the interview, you're going to get asked this question, and this is the answer you want to give. And then when you get this question, you answer this way, or this wording you need to use. Don't use this, but use this. Say this, but don't say this. Do this, but don't do that, etc. And everyone does that with their videos, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to take a different approach. I want to start with you. Before you can go in there and say the right things and do the right things, you have to believe in you. You have to see yourself differently. You may have not gotten a call back, and maybe you've done everything right, but you weren't present in the interview. You were physically there. You answered every question perfectly. You answered every question right. You did everything you were supposed to do, but you were not present in the interview. And so throughout this series, of course, we're going to go over all the tips and common questions and et cetera, et cetera. But first, we're going to talk about you and learning to be present in an interview. And part of being present in an interview goes on a much deeper level of being present in your own life. Being present simply means that when I show up to every situation, I come with my whole heart, my whole mind, and my whole soul. It's so tempting and easy when you have an interview to turn on a switch and become a robot. And if you think about it, we all do it to a certain degree. All right, they're going to ask us this question about my behavior. Let me answer it this way. They're going to ask me what my greatest challenge is. Let me answer it this way. They're going to ask me, do I like working in a group or do I like working by myself? And all of the other questions, behavior, whatever. And we'll definitely discuss that. But right now, I want you to work on you being present and you showing up in an interview. But before you do that, you have to show up and be present for yourself. So you already have your resume written. You probably watched a few videos, had some websites of what you should and should not do and should do. Okay. But no one tells you to be present. And you want to know why? Because we don't look at it as something personal. We look at it as something that we're just supposed to do. You go in, all right, here's the rules and blah, 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 and just do this and you'll be fine. And the truth is, you will be fine. But aren't you getting a little tired of being just fine with everything in your life? That when you go to an interview, you want to know that you gave 100%, that you were present in the interview, that you answered the questions dynamically, that you were there, that you showed up, that you were ready to present the best version of yourself that you possibly can. Because that's what this video is about. This video is about you learning how to show up and be present, especially in interviews, but in other aspects of your life. But we're going to focus on the interview for right now. How you show up, and I wrote a few notes, but How do you show up? How do you be present for an interview? How do you not become a robot? How do you not just flip a switch? Well, number one, you have to believe in yourself. You kind of have to give yourself a pep talk starting today, that you believe in your qualifications and your skill sets and your abilities. If you do not believe in yourself, no matter what answer you give, that belief, that confidence is not going to translate in an interview. You'll be able to say the right answer, but there won't be that passion, that energy that makes you human behind it. So yes, employers do want to hear right answers, but your potential employer, that person who's interviewing you, whether it's in person or you're doing it through Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever platform is being used, there's still a person on that other end. Even though during this coronavirus crisis, we're still looking for human connections. People want to feel that they can connect to you. And so you want to be able to show up and be present. And doing that is believing in yourself, because when you believe in yourself and if you're confident in your capabilities and your skill set, that is going to show when you give an interview. And how you do that is before you start writing your resume, before you start doing those things. And I know for majority of people watching, you've already done that. But I think it's time for you to go back. I think it's time for you to look at yourself. It's time for you to ask yourself, do I really believe in me? Do I really believe in my skill sets? Do I believe in my experience? Do I believe in me? Because if you don't, that's not going to translate to the employer. You're going to give a good interview, but they're going to be able to say something's missing. People want to still feel that vibe, that energy, that connection. And it starts with you. You have to believe in yourself. One of the tips I've seen, and I think a lot of people should do it, look at yourself in the mirror, or hell, you have your smartphone. Before you take a selfie or video or whatever, just look at yourself and say, I believe in you. I know who I am. I know my capabilities. I know my worth. And that's something you say over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because you have to be able to say the most beautiful and positive things about yourself. If everybody else believes in you more than you, that's a problem. The fact that other people believe in you is a great thing, and I'm not dismissing it. But if you don't believe in you, if you're not your biggest cheerleader, then every positive thing that people say you're not going to be able to accept, because it's not something that you say about yourself. The next thing you're going to do, and this is just for interviewing and whatever else, but it can apply to other areas. The next point, which is point number 2, be fully aware of your strengths and weaknesses. I know the question comes up, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? And we're going to get into how to answer that question. But right now, I want you to think about it from a work perspective. What are your strengths? You, more than anybody else, must be able to name what it is that you do well and where you have areas of improvement. We have to become fully aware of ourselves. Now, mind you, I know, because I'm human as well, we look at somebody else, what's somebody else's strengths and weaknesses? In a snap of a finger, we can list them without even thought, hesitation. And when it comes to ourselves, we go I don't know. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. And you want to know why that's a problem? Because we live with ourselves every day. Every day I wake up with me. Every day I go to sleep with me. When I walk, when I'm on the phone, no matter what I'm doing, I am always with me. But what I've learned is sometimes we're not always present with ourselves. And sometimes before we go out here and desire to have these relationships and be married and all this other stuff, we're not even connected with ourselves enough on a level. If someone asks you, what are your strengths and weaknesses, like that, you should be able to answer. Now, you may not want to answer all of that. You may not want to. That's something different. But being able to share who you are and be fully aware with yourself is a very beautiful thing. And it's not an easy thing either, because we have fears and we have self-doubt. We do. But that's why number 2 is important, in becoming fully aware of your strengths and weaknesses, because once you're able to combat all of the mental blocks in your mind, when it comes time to answer, you'll be able to give an answer like that. You'll be able to be so in tune with the interview that you know exactly what to say and how to phrase it and what words to use. It takes practice, it takes time, but be fully aware of your strengths and weaknesses. If you are not, when it comes time to answer the question, when you're doing your resume, you're not going to showcase all of your skills and talents. The next one is number 3, be fully aware of your capabilities. And people are like, well, what do you mean by that? Didn't I just talk about my strengths and weaknesses? Yeah, but a lot of times we're more capable of things than we realize. And even though we're going to talk about this in the resume part of the videos that I'm going to do, I want you to think about your work experience. And I want you not to think about the job and the job duties, but I want you to think about all the times you were asked to do something outside of the realm of your duties, and how did you do? And most oftentimes you excel. You want to know why? Because sometimes other people were able to see skills within you that you aren't even aware of that you have. Or sometimes the issue is, and I can say this for myself, because it's something I just naturally do, I don't even think of it as a skill, even though it is. That's just how we are sometimes, because when it's something we naturally do, we don't think about it. We just snap, go right into it, and just do whatever it is that needs to be done, and it's taken care of. Handle. People are like, wow, how did you do that? And you're looking like, this is what I do all the time. We have to change that way of thinking. We need to become fully aware of our capabilities and possess the ability to articulate them. Those 3 things will allow you to be able to write a better resume, to write a better cover letter, and to better perform in interviews and even in life. Because once you become aware of those 3 things, and I'm going to say it again, number 1, believe in yourself. Number 2, be fully aware of your strengths and weaknesses. And number 3, be aware of your capabilities. And by doing so, you will be able to showcase the best parts of yourself, because maybe for the first time in your life, now you fully believe in you. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to continue down this path of the interview process and what to do. So again, I thank you for watching. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.